my talk is about, it's called Bratos Vegetarium, and let's go just right into it. I'm just gonna tell you a bit about who I am, why am I articulating this, and what it is mean. First of all, I'm an engineer at heart, a dreamer like all of you here. And the engineer is the doer part. This is my profession. So all my life, I try to understand how things work, but I came from the physical and mental perspective. Sure, and I avoided the emotional, spiritual part. And as soon as the Corona Awakening Party started, I kind of had to face my own beautifully crafted walls inside myself. So I had to deal with my shadow and understand a bit more about the complexity of our reality. So I kind of view things more holistically now and integral, and I'm trying to approach this idea from both sides, from the scientific side and from the nature side of reality. And as you see it in the name, I'm not very creative with the name, but the vegetarian part actually apparently means a perfect environment to grow. But don't quote me on this. This was from the internet, so might not be that truly so. And with that in mind, I think a lot of emphasis should be put on this physical aspect, and I'm taking things from this aspect because I believe environment shapes us, and this is something that we need to make sure we have it stable so that we can grow the other side of ourselves, which are kindly the most important parts that actually reflect the physical aspect. So our mental stuff is just a filter for our internal biases that eventually generate our physical environment. And if you go one layer deeper, we know that all our decisions are actually emotional. Nothing is done intellectually. The intellectual part is just an argumentation of the emotional strata. And if you go down enough, you know that everything it's a fractal. So the nature of reality is much more complex. And this really beautiful picture, basically, it's a representation of that. I don't know if you are familiar with the Hopf vibration. Basically, it's the fabric of material life. It's as everything goes from atom to cell to planets and universes in a spherical shape. This is the representation of a sphere in 4D dimension. So I don't know how it helps us in our 3D world, but it's a really interesting concept and that it's mind-boggling. So let's go back to our thing that I can understand more, which is the environment bit. My idea that I'm trying to articulate is regarding a standardized modular 4-season geothermal passive greenhouse design. I know it's a mouthful. Basically, taking the industrial technical approach to having an environment that kind of enhances our ability to grow the other parts of ourselves and heal trauma and do all kinds of community stuff parts. In terms of the purpose and benefits, I think the ideal is for us to sort out the security part, assuring all kinds of stuff that are necessary for our being in the environment, and making sure we take care of all items to control our bio life. And the end goal is to create a community around this. And basically taking multiple construction design elements into perspective, and building up a structure which basically acts from the cellular level, and the module basically fulfills all the roles of a cell. That integrative, we can add them up and construct a bigger community of cells that act in tandem to power the whole organism, which is our society. That's at least my
What else is going on?
my view of things.
Yeah, there's something going on.
And basically, in terms of maintenance and challenges, I believe a lot of the things outlined would help our developing a structure where assuring all these things and scaling it up moving forward, we can dive better as a society in the idea of having living in a ecosystem where everything kind of supports us to give more time to our internal reflection and building up a more approachable life. And all these design principles will help us achieve that. I think some of the challenges would be in this kind of design that I'm thinking about would be the high initial construction cost, the temperature and humidity regulation problems that you would face. But I think material engineering kind of solves some of these issues. And in terms of the crops limitation, for sure, you cannot build and have everything inside. So eventually we need to go outside as well. And this is kind of the conclusion that starting from the physical aspect of the designs that we're creating for our society, we want to have a synergy between the natural and the scientific, and between us individually and society as a whole, as a group. So is the idea to create this environment where everything could happen. I know people in the broader conversation thought about cities and the whole societies. For me, it was a bit too big to focus on the whole village structure, but that's what I'm here to do, to meet like-minded people and understand more about this and kind of engage and support. So if there are any comments or remarks, I'm willing to discuss more now or afterwards. So thank you very much. If there aren't any.
Yeah. Any question?
Please, Robert.
Yeah, thank you, Bogdan. It's really great. Thanks for sharing your presentation. I think last night, well, at least here in Europe, we watched the Regen Villages presentation by James Ehrlich. I think you were there too. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely, it was an impressive presentation.
Yeah, so definitely seeing a sort of partnership role there for you, because you're focusing on that part. And if you zoom out a bit, so I really like that you focus on this technical part and see what opportunities there are. It's very important. I was very intrigued by the picture you showed of this combination of a torus and spiral dynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've never seen it before, so I think I would love to learn more about it. But intuitively, I think there's lots to share there.
Yeah, definitely. You can go to this website. It's actually where we can actually play with it. It's very interesting dynamic.
Yeah. So but thanks again. It was really great.
Thank you as well. I also appreciated the James presentation, and I also saw Florian's presentation. It was really nice regarding this physical and like technical aspect of building this structure. So I'm really also interested in this, and definitely I would like to join in supporting this kind of work. So thank you very much, and Ines, you can move it to the next
Thank you.
person.
We still have 3 more pitches, so let's move on to the next one. We have Karsten here. Yep.
I think actually since Morten didn't receive the invitation apparently, and he's on another call, I guess we're going to improvise on talking about Ellevile too. Florine is here, and Robert and Steph have worked on Ellevile as well. So I guess we're going to blend those presentations. So maybe it makes more sense if Lena goes first.
Okay, so Lena. Yeah.
Oh yeah, hello to everyone. Sorry for the delay. I'm with the baby. I don't know, should I share the screen?
Yep, you can share. Yeah.
Second. So I'm speaking from Bonn, which is the former capital of Germany. A small town with, yeah, we're like 300,000 people, but we also are very international, and that's also a little problem actually, because that means that the rents are going up high. So that is actually one issue we want to tackle with our project. So can you see my presentation? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm presenting Neue Stadtgaernerei. That means new city nursery. It's on it's a place where there used to be the former city nursery, and years ago the city of Bonn decided that they don't need this, so they have external contractors for the growing plants. And so what you see here on the left is one part of the old building that is still remaining there. And our idea is to combine living, education, and agroforestry together. And not only like have them be together, but also connect them by resource circles, and also by research that we want to do when being able to live there. So right now, there's still the old structures. Still, we have to do a lot of testing and figuring out what we can do there. However, after 6 or 7 years of lobbying and speaking to all the parties in Bonn, we managed to get the political decision that we are the first ones, or that we are able to actually develop this part of Bonn. And together with a foundation that's called Montagsstiftung Urbane Räume, we are now in the 3 years of planning. And also we will start our finances now, like the financing, because before we were dreaming, and now we're in this situation where we're like, okay, let's start the project now. So I just want to give you a short insight in how it looks like. Or better to explain again what I actually just said, that our goals are to secure permanently affordable housing, what I said before, socially just and climate neutral and participatory. So we're trying to build a house that is climate friendly. Also, we will use the elements of the political sustainability strategy. So we want to increase biodiversity and practice climate-friendly living. We will combine this living with learning, natural space, and urban food production, as I said before. And one of the main goals for us is not to be isolated inside, but to be open to the whole neighborhood. So there is now communication going on with the neighborhood that's already existing, and they will be participating, as well as everyone in the city of Bonn. So what I said before in words, you can see here in the picture. It's a top shot. So in green, there's the part where we will build, probably, we're not sure. It's a participatory process. So there will be a building or a garden or something like that, that is meant for education and qualification. We will have communal and social housing. And then in red, you see a small scale ecological agroforestry. So these are the three parts that we will develop. There is one big part where you see species conservation. That's a huge part that was used for the nursery as well, but we will leave it the way it is, or maybe we will help it a bit to develop a bit more, but we won't build anything. Anyways, the buildings that we try to do is all upcycling, so we won't do any new ceiling. So that's the most important part actually in our project. And let's continue. Also, we have one member of our team, as you can say, is doing a research project together or supported by the mentors we have. We have some architectures that are our mentors. And we want to try to maximize the cold airflow and minimize the heat dissipation at night. And also, as I said before, minimize the degree of sealing. So he's doing AI-generated designs options that we then test with the other criteria that we have, also like the political criteria that exist there and others due to the German law on how to create a space in the city. What's important for you to know is that just beside this, there is agricultural field, and yeah, that's one part where cold air flows still in the city, and we don't have much of that. We are actually a city where you get easily headaches because there is not enough fresh air and cold air. And yeah, so that's all I wanted to share with you. And here you can see another picture. This is actually how it looks at the moment. These are the structures of the old nursery. And yeah, we are now in this phase that we will start crowdfunding soon, and we'll realize planning workshops to be able to after then work with the planning offices that we need for the whole process of yeah, creating architecture and the city planning around it. Yeah, if you like to contact us, you can find me personally on LinkedIn and Facebook, and Neue Stadtgaernerei is also on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, but we also have an email address where we respond to emails. And yeah, you can see it here. It's info@neue-stadtgaernerei.org. Yes, thank you for listening. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Robert? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Lina. It's a fascinating project. Thanks again also for sharing. I'm intrigued also by how you guys are experimenting with using AI to sort of get or optimize the architectural shapes. So I would love to learn more on that part. And I'm also wondering, because you have now sort of 4 or 5 blocks, playing fields, if you have considered to weave in other energy fields, or how did you come to this sort of balance?
Well, I think it was a process that went over the years. So for us, it's like we do not want to tackle one climate problem or a problem that is connected to climate, like, for example, the living. For example, here in Bonn now, we are all very onto solar energy and so on. And what we wanted to do is like really try to focus on what is important for us as people. And it's not only the housing, it's the way we are acting as a community. So, for example, when we decide things, we decide in consent. So we do a lot of discussions, and all the structures that we are organized in, that is very often part of the discussion as well. And we think this is also important. And also like just, I say, Chancengerechtigkeit, what's it in English? Help.
Maybe Karsten can help out. Yeah.
equality, really, like having equal chances, equal opportunity.
Yeah, like equality chance for everyone to have good education, for example. That's a huge problem in Germany, and you wouldn't think about it as the first problem of in climate issues, but you first think of biodiversity, for example. But we think that education is one essential part of it. So this is why we thought about this, that we want to to give the knowledge that we learn and earn by structuring this project, but also the knowledge that is there and that we will also grow through our research, that we want to share this with the neighbors and the city of Bonn. So this is how we came up with all these 3 parts. And because living space is rare, and we want to offer it to people who cannot afford high rents, and we want to try to keep the rents cheap. So that's also one political idea we have. And the question you had about AI is that there's this Alexander Hack, who's focusing on this research. And if you want, I can put you in contact with him so he could explain you a bit more. We are just starting, so we're actually finding out where to focus and what is also important in the process, and what do the architectural offices need later on. And yeah, he's just started with like a lot of simulations. That's where we are in this phase.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. We really need to move on to the next village. Thank you, Lena. It was amazing to listen to you and your project. And maybe now I can invite Elegant Earth. Not sure who is going to make pitch, if it's Stephanie or Martin.
Stephanie, me, I think she kind of called on you now, Steph. I mean, I have to talk about Ellevile.
Oh my goodness, really? Hi. So I'll talk about Elegant Earth. I did put it in my signature. So this is about a village pitch. And what you're about to hear is the beginning. It's not the beginning of Elegant Earth, but it's the beginning of stepping into what's a very large creation for us as Elegant Earth, and inviting you, whoever you might be listening, to notice for yourself if it's something that you would like to be a part of in some way. So for a couple of years, we've been coming together, and I say this as a group of Elegant Earth. We've been finding each other. We've been drawn to this energy field we call Elegant Earth, which is all about seeing the beauty of the earth as it is and living as our true selves in community from that, with that, in harmony with that. And so the big vision that's come to us through Elegant Earth very recently, it's been brewing, but it's here now and ready to speak to you as an invitation, is what we've been calling the Trinity of 3 villages that we would like to create for first ourselves and those who would be residents, villagers with us. And what's different about the way we're creating this, Carsten in particular has been involved with Ellevile, which has a gorgeous technology for bringing together all of the tools, the physical elements that we need to build beautiful villages that are both sustainable and beautiful to live in, pleasant places to live in. We're bringing together not only the technology which these villages are in large part focused on, that allows them to be sustainable and regenerative, but creating this from the space within first, creating everything from the space within first. So this is inherently a regenerative systems approach to think about who we are What is the community? What is the environment? What's happening inside of ourselves, and creating from that. And there's something that I want to point out here that's different. So much of what motivates us in wanting to create a village is a sense of something's missing. Something's missing in my life. Something is missing in my world, and a community will fix it, or a village will fix it, or a sustainable way of living will fix it. And when we look within, we find that what we're looking for is found there inside of us. And that doesn't mean that we stop wanting to create a village or that we don't do that. It simply means that we're creating from an abundance of what we already have. And this is a fundamentally different way of creating anything. It's always aligned with who we are authentically. It is deeply connected with the source of all creation, and it allows us to harness our creative powers together as a community without needing other people to show up differently for us to be okay. And so that's at the heart of what we're doing inside of Elegant Earth and what we'd like to create with these 3 villages. And because this is so new, if you are interested in this, you get to help us discover what the hell this really wants to be. This is my favorite space to play. I don't really know, but let's find out. We have an intention to create something that is beautiful together. And if you feel it, you'll know. And if you don't, that's beautiful too, because it might give you clarity about what it is that you do want to create. So one of the ideas behind having a trinity is having different energies represented by each of these villages and how they might play together. So the locations that we're looking at right now, one in Portugal, which is where I am right now. I'm in the country of Portugal. One village in Switzerland or thereabouts, and one in Norway. And so we were thinking about the energies of the sea, of the mountains and the forest. And we were thinking about how these energies might work together. And you can feel how emergent this is, right? Maybe you can feel that this is not a plan that we have in this moment. This is a vision and a creation that comes from inside of us that guides us in moving forward. One of the things that I found most moving and resonant in Nicole from, I believe, from Regen Tribes was sharing in lessons about village building that I heard yesterday, was that one of the big mistakes that people make in village building is that they build without a connection to the people. They build without first getting the engagement of the people who will live there. And so we're starting with ourselves, with the villages that will happen inside of Elegant Earth. But this is also the way we will help others to create their villages, is from what's happening inside and knowing that they have already what they're looking for. And so what do you actually want to create? What does that look like? And how do your energies come together? So the call is, if you're interested in being on the ground floor of this, the very beginning, come talk to us, come play with us, find out more. We are looking for co-creators, inspired creators who are willing and ready to step into that space of, I don't know how we're going to do this. And there are so many gorgeous people in this community for us to learn from that I don't think that's a problem. So is there anything that you would like to add to this, Karsten? Because I feel like I need to call on you for that.
I think I'll see if I bend it back from Ellevile at the end.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, I saw a question in the chat from beloved iPhone. That's how I shall address you, beloved iPhone. We don't have specific locations. That's how on the ground here we are. if there are locations that you think would be beautiful, if you perhaps already have, hi there, if you perhaps already have a location that you are building on, like, let's talk, let's see what's possible. That's how open this is. And I really trust that the mere fact that we're talking about it here today, which on the one hand seems like, I'm just speak for myself. On the one hand, I feel, oh my goodness, are we really doing this here at Rebuild Live? When so many people seem so much better prepared. I'm like, but what more preparation do we need than to say I'm ready? And who's willing to create with me? Who feels the call? Rob.
Hey, Stephanie, that was beautiful. So thanks. And what comes up for me, maybe as a humble addition, is that we've been reflecting within the Elegant Earth team and people partners about, and it reminds me of the picture that Bogdan brought up, right? How we sort of bring this inner and outer economies sort of together, these feedback loops. How can we flourish as human beings, but also have the regenerative surroundings for it? So that's basically something that I feel strongly that's also working in the project, maybe as an addition to clarify it a bit. So thanks.
Thank you, Rob. And I so appreciate you always have a beautiful reflection for all of us when we speak. Thank you.
You're welcome. You know, everything is connected, so it's obvious.
Thank you, Stephanie. It was very inspiring to listen to your presentation and how everything starts within us and how important it is to look inward, yeah, before bringing it outward.
Thank you.
Nice. So it seems that it's your time, Karsten, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to find Morten's presentation. It should be there momentarily. There we go. So you can't see it yet, can you? Okay, then I think we do this without.
Not yet.
Yeah. So I just tried to download it. It's over 1 gigabyte large, and my connection today isn't the most stable. So we're just gonna have to do this talking. Apologies.
Karsten, maybe before you begin, I sent you over WhatsApp a 70 megabytes presentation that Morten sent to Rudolf that you could maybe use instead.
Sure, we can. That I actually have on the desktop.
Okay.
Morten wanted the Oslo one, but if you give me 30 seconds, and maybe in the meantime, Flo, why don't you talk about Ellevile, because you know almost as much as I do. Like, you have been there literally from the beginning as far as the building is concerned, and I tried to find the presentation in the meantime.
So sorry, what was the request? I had another question come up here.
Can you jump in for me for a second while I try to find that presentation again, because I do have it.
Sure.
Just give us your view on Ellevile. I think this could be fun if we get different perspectives on it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Ellevile, it's in essence, it's a scalable approach to building eco villages. So the way I usually describe Ellevile is almost as a tech product, like an eco village as a product, as a service that can be built on a piece of land rapidly at low cost. And in that sense, it's very replicable, because everywhere it's built, it's basically the same the same product. So it doesn't require a lot of extra additional work for each deployment. And by doing so, yeah, here you can see a picture of Ellevile. by doing so, I think the Ellevile is sort of creating like a key, how you say, breakthrough in the development of eco-villages, which I think personally is the fact that most eco-villages are very much one-offs. Like each eco-village is unique. It's one of a kind. It has to be built by people on the ground that have to learn themselves how to build an eco-village and how to populate it. And it's very nice, but it's also what makes it so successful is also what limits it, and that's the fact that it is difficult to get mainstream adoption this way. And that's what I think Ellevile is. It's eco-villages for the masses, with a focus on regeneration and on community living. So living in an Ellevile requires 4 hours of community work every week. So it's not just a neighborhood where you live in. And the houses are made from CLT. And we found also a method to reduce the material use of the CLT by 40% by creating single floor houses that can have 6 centimeters of CLT instead of 10. And that's just one of the many key inventions and also innovations that we packaged in this Ellevile that make it into like a very sustainable and replicable and therefore hopefully also successful eco-village concept. And I'll leave it at that, Karsten. I'll let you do the rest of the talk.
Thanks, Floyd. That was very, very helpful and very good. So yeah, what you see there is 8 years of work, and I'm very, very grateful for Morten for having put in those 8 years, because Steph and I think we only started 2 years ago. It was not too long before the first rebuild, and then it escalated quickly. So I know most of you on this call are already deep into village building, but those of you for whom it's probably the first time, or you're not sure if you want to build a village, or if you're just interested in general, this can go a lot more quickly than you think it might, because for us it started as an impossible project, and here we are, like 2 years later. This place is being built right now. There's a dozen other projects, and why can I not go to the next slide? That is really annoying. Oh God, I guess I'm not supposed to do slide presentations today. Screw it then. So one of the key differences that Ellevile brings is that this has been thought up as a way of disrupting the construction industry from the beginning. Morten comes from software, and back then he looked at, well, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And I like flying around, but flying around isn't cool anymore. But really, like, flying is 2% of CO2 emissions, and 40% of CO2 emissions is construction. So maybe let's change construction and make it CO2 neutral. And that's where it started, right? And it took years and years, first talking to the big engineering companies, to the construction companies, but they were used to doing things the same old way, and asking them to disrupt themselves out of existence didn't really work. So little by little by little, through an iteration called Poptail, where it was about hospitality, Corona finally forced Ellevile into becoming this village for residents, and to really use CLT as the basis and create something that is really, really beautiful to live in, but at cost, building much, much, much more affordably than was possible in general. And that is also where we go back to building these 3 new villages and what has been hard in village building over the last couple of years. We got many projects going, but it was always hard to get the funding for them, because building regeneratively in general more expensive than building normally. And if you want to build for the mainstream with mainstream investors, then the question always is, well, have you done one before? You know, does this exist? Is the business model proven? And if you can't show that, then most of them aren't really interesting. So what we have now is Ellevile bringing the capacity to build at cost and build really quickly. And all the other things that we have learned over the last couple of years of how to really bring in the human element, of how to create something that comes alive, that creates an experience for human beings that makes these houses homes. We've had many opportunities and projects to practice that and to discern the patterns that are important in village building. And that starts, yes, from the business side, from the building side, but more importantly, in how do we build a team? How do we create alignment? How life that makes us all come on these calls? How do we create a community that we really want to live in? And so today, like what started as an impossible project 2 years ago isn't all that impossible or crazy anymore. Like we can go there and say, yeah, we're going to build 3 villages. We can invite all of you to come and join us and figure it out with us from the ground, because by now it looks very realistic to build more and more of these things and quickly and do it in a way that pleases investors as much as that is necessary, but also do it in a way where we don't have to compromise the integrity of the vision, where we can really create something that brings more beauty to the world. So, Steph, I think this is where I throw the ball back to you, and want to take us home?
Sorry, did you ask me something, Karsten?
In this case, I said Steph, not Line. But if you want to say, or if I missed something, please add. If in case you want to say something, then you're muted. But then let me just finish from my side with 2 invitations. One is for Ellevile. We're starting the 2nd phase of the build right now. And whoever wants to come there and work with us, there is paid, I can't really call it internships because it's more than an internship. But if you've never built a village before, call it a village builder internship. You can come there, build it with us. If you're at all interested in village building and are not afraid of actually getting your hands dirty with us, you can come help with the food production, help with the build, help figure us out how to make this better and faster, and see how something like that is being made real, right? And the second invitation is, if you want to play with us on these 3 new villages, and it doesn't matter if you're only interested in general or might want to live there one day, or like, yeah, I totally want to build one in Norway and have a piece of land, or know somebody who has a piece of land. I want to be part of the core team. Just come join us. We'll put the links in the chat in a second, and let's start the conversation and see where it goes.
Can I ask you something? Hello. Okay, because can you just repeat, where are you? Because so much impressions, you know, my head can't. Where are you building and working now?
The first Ellevile is built in Baby, Denmark.
Denmark, okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
There is projects we are at least a part of in Portugal and Spain and Italy.
Okay. Mm.
And we want to do 3 more in Portugal, in the Netherlands, and in Norway.
Good. Like good, wow. Like, ooh, okay. Okay. That's very interesting. So I just want to say my background. So last year I was in Portugal too. I went on a workshop to learn how to build houses. You know, we got dirty, like it was beautiful. and my background is I'm textile designer and interior designer, and I have a huge network with other interior designers. And I feel like the pioneer there, because I'm urging, you know, use sustainable, do sustainable, and so this is my field where I'm giving my energy, and it works because, yes, and that's necessary. So, and yes, network and connections are the most important thing. That's what I think. So I'm very happy to meet all of you here now. Thankful. Mhm.
Thank you. It seems that Lena also raised her hand. Lena, do you have a question?
Yes, I do have a question to Karsten, Steph, or Florian. I don't know. So what I was listening while you're having the presentation was like some keywords, and also the. So I will repeat these keywords, and then I will follow with my question. So it's like better and faster, a trademark, which is like Ellevile is a trademark, and scalable. So my question is, where do the people come in, and where do you connect the humans interested in living there? Are there communities? I know that Denmark, like I lived in Denmark as well before, and they are very, most of them, I think, they have education and community living, kind of like more experience than in other countries. But how do you find the communities to live in there? Because for the keyword that I said, it sounds a bit more like profit oriented and trying to sell something, which maybe is not the way how you find a community. So I'm just interested in this, in the process, and how you connect this to being regenerative, except for the materials that you use or so.
It's a perfect catch, that one. So you're completely right. Ellevile is created at the heart by old school entrepreneurs, right? Let's make this scalable. Let's make this bigger. Let's create really nice profit margins. And I'm immensely grateful that they're doing that, because we had all of the other parts figured out. But building that quickly, building at that cost, getting the business model right, not really. You know, it was always hard. So I believe that is also really how Morten and I got drawn together. Like, yes, they had the business side figured out up to a point, the building side. But what about the community? So Ellevile is going to be more prescriptive probably than most of the communities that we would build from the ground up, because it's geared to the mainstream. It's like, yes, look, these are the basic rules. You either want to live here or you don't. But at the same time, it's also early days, right? So we are inviting the residents, future residents, people that are on the waiting list to the land with us to visit us while we build. We start planting the veggies together in 2 weeks, I think. And we'll see, we'll take it from there. The next thing that is planned is a walkabout, taking all of them and all of us on a long walk around the land and the area, and just see what comes up. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting journey to figure out where the balance is between setting rules that actually help the community to function, between allowing the community to create what it needs to be, which is what we're definitely asking you all to do with our Trinity, and seeing what the market and the investors can take, right? Because that is the huge potential in Ellevile. In order to actually make a dent in CO2 emissions, it doesn't help much if we build 1 or 2 villages. We need hundreds and thousands of these things built. And one of the slides that I couldn't get to show is as much as has been built in all of human history is going to be built over the next 40 years. So imagine what that does to us if we don't do it sustainably, regeneratively.
But it's not part of, I call the selling plan for the product, that you build community. So people who are interested in living there, for example, now in this project in Denmark, they are not, they pay the houses, but not the community building, right? Or is it part of it?
But the community is a built-in feature, so to speak. Like Ellevile comes with that set of rules. Yes, you're supposed to contribute 4 hours per week to community work, share dinner cooking, share this, share that. But as like the difference towards to a place like the traditional Dream Factory is the degree of how much of this is going to be grassroots is going to be limited, at least until that model is proven wrong, you know. But if you want to be able to have tenants, to have renters move in and out, then the community needs to have this stable core of, yeah, that actually works and keeps people from fighting each other and fairly happy in general.
Thank you. We still have 3 more minutes. Just we have time for one more question.
Can I ask something too again? Oh no, it's so interesting. I could talk hours. Okay, because I'm full of, yeah, a question, Carsten. What I learned is like the cheapest and the most sustainable thing to make houses and homes are to, in fact, reuse the already existing ones, you know? So, and I love this. I'm attracted to this. Let's say it like this, you know? I lived a long time in Spain, for example, and in Spain there are so many houses that are empty. They had this building season and they built, and you know, and I don't know, I'm attracted by this. What is your thought about this? You know, to use all these houses that exist already and remodel them a little bit sustainable, like.
Yeah, I hope we'll get there. Like this is for us at least a long-term vision, that we have this regenerative village building venture studio, where we can also take abandoned houses, take abandoned villages and revamp them, where we can do stuff like this nice project called Neue, which Robert remembers very well, you know, that we are able to go and build a solar city, that we can do things at that scale. But we have to prove ourselves project by project by project before at least we can get to that, because again, rebuilding those villages is one of the most expensive things you can do if you want to do it regeneratively. So we have to build up the knowledge to be able to do that one day, hopefully.